our program Right Rides is basically a way for us to give safe rides home to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, gender nonconforming people and women. The purpose of the program is to prevent harassment and violence for those people who are taking that community, LGBTQ and women, who are taking public transit home late at night. So what we do is we have a sponsorship program with Zipcar, which is they rent their cars out on by hourly or daily basis. Unfortunately, we still see a lot of harassment, street harassment and harassment in public transportation um, towards women or lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender people um, because of discrimination or sexual harassment. Sometimes groping, sometimes somebody's saying things to people that are offensive, and people don't feel safe. And so this is a way for us to fill that gap right now, because I don't know if you took the subway maybe between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m. It's a little bit scary. Not that many women are on the trains, and there's not as many people, so you don't feel as safe. And definitely, there's not a lot of I don't see any real patrolling happening from the MTA or the NYPD. And as it stands right now, the NYPD, New York Police Department, and the MTA, who manages a public transit system, are not in communication with each other in their patrolling of the subway system. I think it's about the community not recognizing that when harassment happens and when assault happens, that they can actually be empowered to like be supportive towards that person by standing up and saying, hey, that's not okay, please leave her alone, or something like that. As it stands right now, so many times harassment happens and nobody says anything. Whenever you have somebody who's working late at night on Wall Street, they make enough money to take a cab home, but a lot of people don't, like LGBT people and women. Have a lot of the people are in low-income communities, and so they cannot afford to take a cab at 2 in the morning if they take off. They are done with work at a restaurant or something. Sometimes we have community rallies. Like last weekend, we had a rally about how to prevent harassment and bystander intervention, and what is the nonprofit community and the city elected officials doing about that. So at that time, we were passing out flyers about our business cards and information on our program, and we sometimes approach people at community events, and they come and they ask about our program and they are interested in volunteering. So for the operation to take place, we need dispatcher, driver, and navigator. We have a pretty strong volunteer training, which is carried out by our volunteer coordinator. We ensure the safety of the riders and the safety of the volunteers by making sure that there's always a team in place. There's nobody ever driving alone. So we have a driver and a navigator in the car at all times. And we have certain safety tips and guidelines. For instance, we always require everybody to ride with their seatbelts. We carry vomit bags inside the car, first aid. So anytime we need anything, we do that. So, yeah.
My job during regular service nights is to be on call. Our dispatchers are all volunteers, so they're the ones who are answering the phones and sending the cars out, and then we have the drivers and the navigators who are in the cars working.
Our service is from 11:59 p.m. to 3 a.m. exactly, but we start getting calls pretty much right away. However, the peak time is probably from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. And generally speaking, when we get high volume of calls, we try to, coordinate as quickly as we can. So Right Rides began in this area over here, North Brooklyn, and then it slowly expanded to a lot of different parts of Brooklyn. We expanded to Queens as well, and then eventually got to Manhattan and the Bronx too. So we have volunteers coming all the way from Jersey to volunteer all the way out in Brooklyn, Manhattan, wherever.
When I was a volunteer, I knew immediately that it was one of those organizations that I really, really, really just, I loved the mission. I thought it was really grassroots and direct response, and it was just a needed service. Unfortunately, it's a necessary service, but it was a bunch of people providing a very necessary service, and I thought it was just like beautiful.
We love that kind of community support and then national support too. You know, we have many former volunteers who used to live here, and then they move somewhere, but they continue to do the dispatching from where they are on the weekends. We have some volunteers, some over 100 volunteers right now, but I would love to see that grow. And right now, what we're doing is some college outreach to college students. Maybe on the weekends they have a more flexibility to be able to help us. And we would also like to see us expand to more neighborhoods so we can serve more people. We're hoping that by the end of 2013, we will see all of Manhattan will be served as well. So, and we want to expand more in Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx as well. Our motto for Right Rides is because getting home safely should not be a luxury. And it's written on our business cards and it's on our website. So it kind of sums up why we do what we do.